All right. Hey, everybody. It's your spiritual big brother. Okay, let's do this thing. I'm going to be doing more open notebooks. That seemed to be what a lot of people really liked on my channel. So now that I've kind of had some time to kind of process, figure out the direction, and kind of figure out some of the elements and such that I want to kind of do with it, I guess topics to cover and such like that. So I want to make the open notebooks a core staple of this. However, I will say this much. My first open notebooks, that was during a very, very spiritual phase in my life. And so I wanted to share that with you. Now, I'm still going to be covering spirituality as it comes, but I wouldn't say that I'm like still in that phase. You're going to hear a lot of that language. I'm probably going to bring up some of that to kind of refer it to newer or contextualize newer lessons or other things or stories or experiences that I've had. You know, you may hear some layering of that. May hear some of that terminology because that applies everywhere. And that's kind of what I'm doing, integrating that into being more human and how I see, my own experience through my lens. I kind of put it through a spiritual lens now. With everything, but it's not going to be solely focused on that. And I think you'll kind of understand that after I start getting started on this stuff. So let me slow down, let me breathe. Let's kind of get started. All I want to say, I guess, is I want to keep these to about 20 minutes, give or take a little bit. But they might go longer, so this might turn into like a series. This might turn into a couple pieces. In addition to that, at the end of those pieces, or at least at the end of the last one, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I'm setting up on Skool. I'm going to be doing what's called Conscious Creators, and I'll go into more into that at the end. Let's jump right into it. So, give me just a second. There's going to be a lot of pausing. There's going to be a lot of me thinking, do I want to talk about this or not? It's kind of one of those things. I'm basically going to give you all my raw thoughts. That's what the open notebooks is all about, by the way. It's the things that I think about, and I do it really raw, where I kind of tell you what I thought, and then I kind of expand on the thought and go through it. And grammatically, they're not always great. You know what I mean? That's kind of the beauty of this. We're doing it raw. We're doing it live action here. So let's get started. Okay, first thought. What is something you give away constantly but always have an unlimited or limited supply of? That might be a good question for you guys, just to kind of sit and think about for a while. I said this one kind of snarky. This was actually, I think, on a post or something like that, and it made me think, so I figured I'd bring it here. I just said one of the things that I give away that's limited, but I do anyways, is positive energy. And, I kind of said very snarky in it. I said, now get away from me, LOL. Okay. So we don't really need to talk about that one. That one's more of a question, I guess, for you guys to think about. But that's what I said to that one. Another thought that came by real quick. Not everybody's going to like this. Probably the women might not like this. Men want peace. Women like chaos. I think that there's a lot of truth to that. Maybe it's not perfectly said. Maybe this is one version of that. But I really like to look at it like the yin and the yang, though. That doesn't mean that, things don't mix or that can't work. I think it does work. But yeah, I think that that's true to an extent. Or you know what? Maybe that's kind of the perfect union there. Maybe a man needs to be chaotic and a woman needs to be peaceful, or vice versa. You see what I'm saying? But I want to say, at least in the culture we live in, and the products of culture, I think that men want peace and women like chaos. I think that that's true. I'm not saying that that's true across the board. Okay, let's move on to the next one. For all your loved one knew, that was who you were, and maybe that was a version of you. Okay, that was me kind of healing a little bit. This might be a good one for you to take home. If you've ever maybe not been who you wanted to be towards somebody else that you loved, and maybe you feel like you weren't really given it 110%, or maybe you drop the ball somewhere, or whatever it is. That's one thought that I kind of like to come to now, or at least that's why I thought of this one, is that just because you weren't giving it 110% all the time doesn't mean that other person didn't kind of see you for who they thought you were. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they need to be able to figure out who you are from everything, not just from one experience or a handful of experiences, the whole package. Who you show up to for other people, you know, who you are when you're around them, who you are when you're not around them, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many different ways that they can find a way to figure out who you are without, you know, it being some perfect thing just because, you know, you may be hard on yourself like I am. Okay, so that's a good one there. Okay. Who's to say reality doesn't expand around you and like astral projections of humans that serve you to remain conscious and do the things you want to do without, now I did a grammatical error here, without, I'm not sure what I was trying to say here, without rushing ahead. That's probably what that means. Without rushing ahead or trying not to burn out. Yeah, that's probably what that is. Okay, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that. I had to kind of get myself back to where this thought came from. Man, I came up with that. And I'm trying to remember what the heck, because there's two different thoughts. The reason that I'm confused on this is because I had two different thoughts on this one. And there was a better one, I think, than this that I say maybe later down the road. Okay, but let's talk about this one. And maybe I'll condense the other one down into this one, because I think that that's a clearer way of what I was trying to get at with this thought. Like, this is like the precursor to the thought. Okay, let's talk about it though. Reality expanding around your consciousness. That is, I think, what I was really trying to get to or say. And what do I mean by that? I kind of think that, well, there's a lot of different ways that I like to think about this. I like to think about it in a creative way. That, like, your projects, your visions, the things that you think about, the things that you like to think about, the things that you're interested in, the things that you learn about. I feel like that's like a root system from a tree that keeps expanding, right? You keep following a different thread or a different route, and you know, you keep following that thread from all different types of disciplines, subjects, topics, and, like, you know, there's so many different cool things, right? Astrology is really cool. Spirituality is really cool. History, to an extent, can be really cool. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, you could pick any discipline out there. I mean, economics, financial, you know, that's just an important part of being alive. Might not even be exciting. Find a way to make it exciting, because, you know, your finances matter to you. You know what I mean? Money matters. But you hear what I'm saying? Like, you can go any way with these things. But what happens is, for some of us, lifelong learners especially, we just keep expanding. I mean, we go in all different directions. We will leave one thread after we've gotten pretty far with it, pick up another one, and then come back to that thread. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like a juggling act constantly. But think about that, what that's doing to your brain and all the different ways that it's going. Consciousness can keep expanding around you, but at some point, you need to give it some structure. You need to decide what you want to do. That's why specializations and doing all that stuff is really important. It's kind of why a lot of the marketplace now kind of thrives on that. You know, you need to specialize in one area, and whatever you do outside of that is more of hobby or whatever else you want to do. But to get paid and to create value, you got to be in kind of one lane. So I think that's important, but it's less important if you're just kind of having some fun and just following different threads and just, you know, soaking in knowledge or whatever you want to call it. Now, another part of consciousness expanding in a different way is, I like to think of, this might be a different thought, but the past Yeah, no, this is a different thought. This was ego and spirit. Well, I think we'll get to that. Okay, let's leave it at that. I think I did a pretty good job. Let's move on. You can do anything you want out here. Just don't hurt anyone, including yourself. And it gets boring when you get older. Most of us forget how to be kids. True. I think that's the main point of this one. And I can't say that I'm like 55 to say what it's really like when you get older, but you know, I'm already heading down that road, and I feel like I'm definitely getting that idea implanted in me that I'm not having as much fun as I used to have, and that's unfortunate. And it feels like I'm free, but I'm tied to obligations, other people, and all this stuff. And it's like between that, keeping up with the bills, keeping up with life, keeping up with maintenance on things, keeping up with the grass, you know what I mean? It's really hard to get rid of all of those worries and just go outside and have some fun and just be spontaneous and just go take that day trip somewhere you want to go. It's really, really hard to do that in the system that we've built for ourselves. And I'm not necessarily saying it's down with the system, burn it all down, start over. But I do think that that's hurting a lot of our quality of lives. And we're kind of living in like an illusion, like just because we can get in our cars and drive to and from work and other places, it doesn't necessarily mean we're able to do the things we want to do. I think that's ultimately a quality of life issue. I think it's a systemic issue, and I think it needs some change. That's all I'm going to say. I think it needs change. I'll say that much. Okay, let's see what else we got here. Happiness is found in remembering all of the things you did when money wasn't a factor. We're all stuck trying to return to that person or period of time or moments. I agree with that, actually. Well, I mean, I said it. But don't forget, the point of these open notebooks, it's me capturing a thought in action without polishing it, without, going through this process of me reflecting on what I thought about. And the good thing about this is you guys get a chance to reflect on it. You get to hear somebody else's thoughts. And you get to kind of see how reflection actually works. Now, you can certainly journal down ideas in your notebooks and do this however you want. Okay? I'm kind of just modeling it. And I'm giving you guys some reference point too, some cool stuff to think about if you haven't thought about it before. But really, imagine yourself. These are your, put yourself in my shoes, plural. What I have on paper here and what I'm sharing with you guys is what goes through my head, raw. You know what I mean? I haven't dressed it up. I haven't made it, change it in any way. And then what I'm doing with you guys is I am sitting with these thoughts, saying them out loud again, and then thinking about them. What do they mean to me now that I've had some distance from them? My emotions aren't there. I am sitting with these objectively. And so that's really what is the take home here. It's to do it with a buddy, me, and then to be able to do this for yourself with your own thoughts. See if maybe your thoughts aren't so pure or aren't so perfect. They aren't. I mean, I'm showing you guys what, I don't necessarily agree with everything here, even though they came from me. I don't necessarily agree with each one of these. I think parts of it are good. I think I had a good string going on a lot of them. Maybe it was a branching of another thought or something like that. We all do this. So, it's kind of, that's why I'm doing this. Okay. But let's move on here. What was I saying? With the kids, I think we get stuck. Now, where was that? Okay. Happiness is found in remembering all the things you did when money wasn't a factor. And I think that's so true. I think we all kind of feel that at some point in our life. We feel when the system becomes a reality for us, the system that we all live in. You got to pay your bills. You know, you got to pay whatever. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, we're all stuck in this bill system, and, you know, we just got to keep up, and we've got debt that we got to, you know, you hear what I'm saying? We're in a system here. But when we were taken care of and it was worry-free, you know, that was when we were really having fun, when we were kids, you know, when our parents had to deal with all that stuff. So I realized that to a lot of people, it's like, oh, well, that's just what adulthood is. But does it have to be that way? I don't think so. I think that's what our parents did. And I think we are now inheriting that system. And I got to be honest with you, I don't think that it needs to be this way. I think it could be better. So that's what I'm getting at. Okay, let's move on to the next one. Where are we at here? 15 minutes. Okay, probably got enough time for another. Well, let me finish this page, actually. Let's try to finish this page. Okay. This was one that I was saying to myself. No more doubt. Embrace it. Be you. Fully and weirdly. LOL. Bring humor and openness into public areas. Expression and humor. Embrace the belly. Drum on it. Just don't be so uptight. That's one that I've always had. A lot of people like this, okay? I have grown to like it too, because it's what makes me me. But for a long, long time, I think I was really hard on myself over this. And I can remember losing a lot of weight in high school and doing that kind of stuff. But let me not go too hard down that road. That's kind of behind me. I don't want to like redig that up. But all I was really saying is big picture. I don't want to have any more doubt out there in the real world, okay? I was very fearless. I took a lot of risks out there. I failed a lot. So I've kind of got the burdens of feeling what that's like to get embarrassed, humiliated, fail time and time again. And I don't even think other people would have seen it that way. But me being critical of myself and me failing time and time again, and learning lessons from those things, which is kind of why I'm here now. I've had to, you don't always build up a callus like you hope. Sometimes those things hurt you over time. And especially if you quickly get up without healing, considering what you went through, and then just on to the next thing, and then just keep rinsing and repeating that, those start to accumulate over time, and you start to kind of have less confidence in yourself. Whether or not that's physical, or whether or not that's emotional or mental, you know, you take your pick. Eventually, you know, you failing in this world, you need to be able to learn to sit, reflect, and learn from your lessons. Otherwise, you're just going to keep repeating them. It's going to become more and more embarrassing, more and more frustrating. And at some point, you're going to start to be confused about, you know, are you just saying that you're confident, or are you really confident? Okay? Big difference there. Okay, let's move on. The same chains that free you are the ones that bind you. I love this. I imagine I must have heard this from somewhere. This sounds almost too Hallmark for it to be genuinely from me. But it did come from me, and I can't think of it off the top of my head if I ever got this from anywhere. But I really, really believe it. I love it so much. It's so good. I'm going to take it. You know what? It came from me. I'm going to take it. You guys can have this one too. Take it home with you. It's a good one. The chains that free you are the chains that bind you too. Keep that in mind. And this comes down in my mind to pleasures. And I'm talking about all pleasures across the board. We're talking sex, self-indulgence. We're talking food. We're talking materialism. We're talking greed. That list goes on. Pleasures, whatever they are for you. Drugs, substances, stuff like that. Whatever pleasures, whatever, you know, makes you feel alive for a moment in time, but then you try to chase that and make that your reality. The same things that free you, excite you, are the same things that can bind you if they're not moderated or anything like that. Okay, I'll let you guys kind of, I don't want to give it all away, you know? All right, we got one more. I see we're close, so let me make this quick. Language requires habitual usage. Basically, we're all scared to look stupid. So we need to use words a couple times before they become habits and natural to us. This was me kind of explaining what I've noticed in pattern in talking about any one thought, or I guess in any field of thought, any discipline. Like for instance, let's say you're talking about politics, okay? You're going to have a bunch of different ideas that you like, and some of them might be offensive. You might be worried about how you share them or who you share them with, because you don't want to be attacked on those things. So a lot of us hold them in, but in order for you to really develop language on it, feel comfortable about it, and I'm just talking about politics here, but this could be anything. This could be religion, spirituality. This could be financial talk. You know what I'm saying? Like any discipline you want to talk about and be an expert in, you got to talk about it so that you can start getting, familiar with the language and feeling good. This is like specialization, I guess, but I'm trying to help you see it from anything that you want to specialize in. But you got to stick to it, and you got to kind of do it. And I found that to be true for expression. That's kind of the gift of expression. You need to be bold enough to say what you want to say in front of just about anybody. I mean, read the crowd. Don't just walk into a noisy room, express your opinion loudly, and it's the group of people that are against whatever it is that so you know what I'm saying, but be wise about it. But that's how you really level up. It keeps leveling up your speech. I feel like a game, just talking about whatever it is, just somehow whatever programs us as human beings, or whatever our DNAs have, or however our spirits work, or our consciousness, it works like a game, man. You just need to go start talking about whatever it is you care about. You're going to fumble around at first. You might even get embarrassed, but you just keep going, and it keeps getting better and better and better. Learn from your mistakes, get better language, and that refinement just naturally happens on its own. Okay, I think that's enough for this one. I hope that this has been helpful. Let me talk a little bit about conscious creators before we completely shut this one down. I'm going to be starting a course on school, and it's just in development, so I don't have it perfectly planned out. I'm hoping within the next week I already have kind of a good plan that I want to go from. But yeah, it's just coming together, and I want to help people. I want to help creators especially, but anybody's welcome. If you are an intellectual, if you're going through burnout, if you're an entrepreneur, this is for you. I just need to keep like a focus in one area that I'm good at and that I think is very relevant to the times. But we're going to be dealing with perspective. We're going to be dealing with a little bit of spirituality, kind of cooked into it. And if you want more access to me to talk about anything that you're maybe struggling with or anything like that, this is just a good place to kind of get into a community. So really the way that I kind of see this, and I have kind of, I guess something that I wanted to say. Hang on a second. Hang on. Uno momento, por favor. Let's see here. So I'll just kind of give you what I have on here real quick. I don't want to hold you guys up anymore. Questions we want to answer, and we can usually get there from remembering why you started in the first place. Now that's talking about creation. People not having soul in the work that they do, like I'm doing here. A lot of energy, a lot of positivity, and I genuinely care about what I'm doing. I genuinely care about me sharing this and helping others. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you can feel that difference. I'm trying to help other creators get there too. A lot of people want to sell out. A lot of people give up because it's a hard road. I'm here to kind of help you guys stay on the long road, explain to you the reality of it, how hard it is, how long it takes. I've failed a lot. And I still am on my way, but I feel good. I love what I'm creating, and that's important. I'm not going to stop. So now it's only a matter of time when it happens for me. Do you know what I'm saying? And I want to get other people there too, because I have learned a lot in my 3 decades of doing this. Okay, so that's one question I want to be able to help people answer. Another question is, why do you create? Why do you create? I think a lot of us forget that. We get so busy trying to figure out what the crowd likes, what your audience likes, how to make that down like one funnel so that you're not covering 400 different things that you really love talking about. I've been there. I know how that is. Okay, So really, I can boil the whole class down into this. Putting the soul back into creation for people and helping people do that, and reminding most creators what they do for the world and how special they are. You don't realize as a creator how important you are. People throw creation around really gingerly, really loosely, and I don't think you understand that this is actually going to change people's lives if you really care about it. You know, and I feel like not enough people care about it enough and understand that, you know, you're trying to help people out here in different ways. And I think people lose sight of that sometimes. But okay, so totally check that out. In about a week, it should be ready to go. I'm working on some stuff in the background. You're welcome to that. Okay, guys, I'm over my time. I've held you guys long enough. I will get better at saying this better. You know, part of what I was just talking about is just that. I got to work on this. You guys are hearing it first. All right, guys, thanks for being here. Spiritual Big Brother. I'll catch you guys on the next one.